I always say like your confidence is like it's like a big balloon that you're dragging around full of sand, and it keeps getting popped at as you go through life. And that's everybody goes through that, right? Everyone has like all those horrible events or experiences that makes them play small or kind of drags them down. I suppose with me, like if I go back and I wrote down all the things, there was like so much bullying, there was a lot of, I suppose, like rejection from the other sex, which again, that's all kind of general stuff, we all go through it. You know what I mean when I say that, like breakups, bullying, kind of rejection in the career, not getting job interview, whatever. And I know it's small, but all those things really add up.
They do.
And they make the person who they are. Then I did all this work on myself and I started thinking way more highly of myself. Obviously, it wasn't an overnight thing. It was kind of a gradual thing. I started doing a lot of gratitude journaling. Now, I always say gratitude journaling really adds to confidence because it makes you realize exactly what you have. You tune into, like, for example, the relationships that are amazing in your life. You tune into what you have and what makes your life so beautiful.
For everybody listening, this is going to be quite a journey. This is going to be very impactful. This is going to be very inspirational, especially for those individuals that listen to the Coaching Masters podcast thinking, I'd love to do that. I'd love to be a coach. And we've had lots of people over the years that I'd love to do what Liam does. I'd love to do what Lewis does. Sarah has gone on a journey from learning from us to now creating something that really has this incredible snowball effect. And we will get to that. But what I want to do is I want to go back to the beginning. Where is the beginning for you, Sarah, when I say start from the beginning?
It's a good question. Again, it's kind of like if someone comes to me and says, you know, like, how do you become a coach? You know as well as I do, that intrinsic want, that real why behind it. It's either there or it's not, to be honest with you. You have to really, I feel like everything I do is such an expression of me, if that makes sense. So growing up, something I actually do with my clients, we call it the life clock, and we write down, actually for anyone listening at home, it's really beneficial to do, to really like get that self-awareness piece. And we write down every single event from newborn. We see like the clock, like our whole life, 12 beginning, like newborn to now. And I actually sat down with it one day and I wrote down any event in your life, you know, like time therapy, NLP and stuff, any event in your life that made you feel either like emotional, negative about yourself, unworthy, all those horrible things. I always say like your confidence is like it's like a big balloon that you're dragging around full of sand, and it keeps getting popped at as you go through life. And that's everybody goes through that, right? Everyone has like all those horrible events or experiences that makes them play small or kind of drags them down.
Wow, what a visual. I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
So it's like this huge balloon, and it's good that it's big, and it's good that it's full. So it's like a positive weight that you've got is something that's sturdy, but then gradually it's just being
Gradually it just gets popped away at, and then you get more deflated. And I think all of us know this. It's just not many of us do the work then when it comes to like actually, because as you know, your confidence is everything. Like how you feel about yourself, it's just everything. And I see it so much, even with coaches. And I suppose with me, like if I go back, right, when I did my life clock and I wrote down all the things, there was like so much bullying. There was a lot of, I suppose, like rejection from the other sex, which again, that's all kind of general stuff. We all go through it. You know what I mean when I say that, like breakups, bullying, kind of rejection in the career, not getting job interview, whatever. And I know it's small, but all those things really add up.
They do.
And they make the person who they are. So at about 2013, 2014, my confidence was on the floor. Really went through a really like horrible experience when I lived abroad. Now, of course, it's never just one event. There was obviously a build-up.
Yeah.
But I was really like paranoid and really insecure about myself. And then like it's like, you know, your RAS in your brain, which is the reticulator activating system. I always confuse it. It looks out for what you feel about yourself in your reality. So like, for example, if you're paranoid about yourself or insecure, you're looking out for that in your external experiences. So like I was kind of going about my life, feeling a bit nervous, feeling on edge about myself, and just really like felt like no one liked me, like felt all this judgment. And
how old were you then?
How long was I where?
How old were you?
How old was I? Sorry. I was probably about 22, 23.
Sure, okay.
But it was a build up of stuff. It wasn't just one event, but there was one event that really tipped me over, and I was like, I wouldn't go as far as saying suicidal thoughts, but I'd really negative thoughts.
And by the way, with this podcast as well, you can always share as much or as little as you want.
Yeah.
This is typically something that our listeners like really resonate with and they really love. This is a very unedited, raw, unpolished. And I'm so easygoing with this stuff. It's like there will always be things that you don't want to share and you don't share them. And there will always be things that you do want to share, and you be open, you be honest, you be true, you just be you. You know? So you've got the floor, Sarah. This is
absolutely.
This is your space.
And you know what? Again, it's something you have to do as a coach, because you owe it to your clients to get really being honest and vulnerable with them.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, you don't have to share everything, but it's just kind of like it makes you relatable.
Yes,
doesn't it? Because that's all anyone just wants, to be relatable with a coach that they're coming on board with, or but anyway, so yeah, that was kind of where it started. And then so my mom's a holistic therapist, so I was always into like The Secret, you know, when I was younger, and like positive thinking and gratitude journaling and all of that. And I did my first vision board. So weirdly enough, I had that experience. My confidence was on the floor, but then I really threw myself back into self-development. Now, I'd be very into Tony Robbins as well. Do you know Awaken the Giant Within? It's like the best book I've ever read in my life. I always say it. And got really into Tony Robbins. And then I love my journaling. It's like a foundational part of, you know, when the clients work with me. I'm like, I know I don't like the word affirmations. I hate the self-development industry, by the way. I hate the way they've thrown these words around, and it actually cracks me up. I like to say auto-suggestion to the brain. So like what you're writing down every single day, you're becoming that person. And that is true.
This is one of the things I really love about you, Sarah, and I really appreciate this so much, because I'm very similar in that way. Like I take the classic terminology and twist it up and change it, because sometimes it just doesn't work, or it doesn't resonate, or there's a much better way of explaining something. Like we were having that brief discussion a minute ago about goals and not utilizing and using the word goals, right?
Like the word goals.
No, I don't like the word goals.
I like to just say to the girls, when I say the girls, it's like the girls I work with, I'm like, okay, choose, like, you know, like even with your wheel of life or whatever. So like choose 3 areas of your life that you really want to flourish in, and make sure in your weekly planner that you're spending mental and physical energy on those things every single day.
It's like,
isn't that so much easier?
It's so much better, because there's something that's relatable that you can actually apply, instead of the moment you throw in goals. Create your goals, then pressure. It becomes this real pressured thing, and you can miss goals, and we're all used to not achieving our goals. I love that. I love you twisting the terminology like that. So, and then with affirmations as well. I like how you've twisted that auto-suggestion for the brain.
Well, let me tell you this. I don't think I'd be sitting here with you today if I hadn't wrote down. I wrote down every single day while I was doing my coaching master's accreditation. I am a successful mindset coach, but I wrote it every single day before I even started with clients. And then that would automatically make me think, well, if I was a successful mindset coach, what would I be doing? Right? You get it.
Love it.
It's not like, you know, it's an action piece. I mean, let's not get started there. We'll get into that, because
so you're at your life, you called it a life clock.
Yeah, the life clock. So I wrote down all the events that made me feel less than, and then I was really able to see the patterns of like my people pleasing tendencies. And I didn't know who I was. I was doing things for the sake of it, like going out every weekend. You know, validation was everything to me. Oh my God. And then I did all this work on myself, and I started thinking way more highly of myself. Obviously, it wasn't an overnight thing. It was kind of a gradual thing. I started doing a lot of gratitude journaling. Now, I always say gratitude journaling really adds to confidence, because it makes you realize exactly what you have. You tune into, like, for example, the relationships that are amazing in your life. You tune into what you have and what makes your life so beautiful. But gratitude journaling is actually so powerful, because it also, you probably know this, energetically, you attract so much when you're grateful.
For sure.
But 100%. That is true. Like, that is true.
It is.
It's not woo-woo. It's true.
It's 100% true. There's a law that I love to talk about, because I think that for those individuals that are like, this sounds a bit woo-woo, so I'm going to move away from it. It's the thing that solidifies it for me in the realm of science, so it can include everyone. And it's called the law of sympathetic resonance. And I fucking love this so much. The law of sympathetic resonance says that if 2 things are resonating at the same frequency, they will always try to move closer together. And in order to prove the theory, if you had 2 pianos that sat in the same room, and you played a C note on one of the pianos, and that C note string started to vibrate, the C note string on the other piano also starts to vibrate, even though you've not pressed the key. And that's because they vibrate at the same frequency. So as soon as one of them starts vibrating, the other one is desperate to move closer towards it. Proven science, right? So there you go.
Like attracts like. Yeah.
So when people are like, oh, but we're talking about vibrating at a certain frequency and law of attraction and all this sort of stuff, it's just, when most people move away from it because of that woo-woo fear, just think law of sympathetic resonance.
Absolutely. But you know yourself, even throughout the last few years, like the opportunities, the people, the places that I've attracted into my life, and the ones I've let go of, that's all like attracts
100%.
like, you know what I mean?
100%. Because you can resonate at low frequency.
You can, and it has to be conscious, though, and it has to be subconscious. So it has to be a work in progress.
Yep,
you know, you
for
have to
sure.
feed yourself these thoughts. You have to. But anyway, I just did so much work on my confidence, basically, and I got my first mindset mentor. Obviously, I came across the coaching masters kind of in the middle of all this because I honestly just did all the work on myself. But then I said, wow, I felt so different to when I did back then. And the respect I gained for myself, first of all, and then from other people around me, and like walking into a room, head up, body language, all that stuff that I did on myself, my reality completely changed. And like, I know that sounds woo-woo, mad, whatever, but it's true. It's like everything changed. And then I was like, oh my God, I actually felt like I actually had to share it with other people. But as well as that, I also created my direction. Who do I want to spend time with? What do I want to do? What is my direction? What do I need to let go of? And I detached from everyone around me. And then I feel like I became more of a magnetic because I was grounded in my sense of self. So I did all this, my whole life just changed from how I thought about myself. Does that make sense?
I sense potentially a lot of pain before that. You know, and of course, like I mentioned before, we only share what we want to share on this podcast, but that's really resonating with me quite a lot because there's this very distinctive moment where that moment on your life clock, there's a turning point. You're going to start focusing on yourself. You're going to change your mindset. You're going to move forward. So what I'm feeling is I'm feeling that there's going to be some pain and some adversity in your life prior to all of that has really contributed in a massive way to you being who you are today.
I think so, yeah, because like I said, it's an extension of me, what I do now. And I think my journey mainly was, I won't sit here and say I went through anything majorly traumatic because I didn't. What I did go through was just a series of kind of like negative thoughts about myself. And then I was attracting negative people into my life, and I was attracting, I suppose, negative experiences, and just kind of like always was looking for that validation from someone else and never really knew my own mind. But I feel like when you, like I said, when you get to the place where you do know your own mind and you're very grounded in your sense of self, that's when you become a super attractor. Pain, definitely, just a couple of years of not feeling good enough, but that was really painful for me. You know, but nobody feels good enough in some sense. But it was that kind of just like, I was so focused on other people and the attention that I got. That if I didn't get it, my balloon was gone. Do you know what I'm saying?
Totally, and I can feel it as well now. I can feel that there's even there's some emotion that's still linked to that. Of course, there will be naturally. It's such a huge part of our life. That adolescence stage of our life, growing up, going through school, that validation that you speak about, I can relate to that in a huge way. Really craving it, not getting it. And they say that voids create values, you know, and all of a sudden the things that we really want to, we really value and we try to create for ourselves are based on the voids that we had growing up. And I can feel that's a really interesting part of you, Sarah. Yeah. Because I can feel it, but of course I don't know your story well enough to even fill in those blanks. You know? But I can feel that there's like an energy there.
There was, and you know, I actually, funnily enough, did my first little workshop for a school, a secondary school in Ireland, which you'd call, what do you call secondary schools here?
Secondary school.
You say second, sorry, it's not high school or whatever, but I bawled my eyes out afterwards because I felt so emotionally linked to it. Yeah. And I was like, I wish that 17-year-old Sarah had, because I did it on confidence. Totally. And I was like, I wish she knew some of the things that I shared with them back then.
I can feel the emotion now.
Yeah, and like that the world is going to eat you up. People are not going to like you. Even like all the like coaches listen to this, like people will judge you a lot.
Oh yeah.
You feel like you're standing in the street naked.
100%.
You really do. Like I love saying it like that because you do. You feel like you're out in the street. I still feel it to this day.
Sometimes it's worse than that as well. Like there have been moments where I would prefer to stand in the street naked than be as judged as what I've been. And I'm glad that you've brought that up because especially for those people that do want to become coaches, you know, you got to be ready for that.
Oh my God.
You really do.
But I promise you it's powerful because it's authentically you.
For sure.
So whatever you detract, you'll attract in other worlds, right? 100%. So again, like attracts like we're sitting here together because like attracts like.
100%, for sure.
That's life, but you have to be okay with that.
Totally.
Like again, don't even get me started on the whole Think of it this way, like, do you want to be sitting with those people that you're afraid of judging you? First of all, tune into your family and friends. Like, write a couple of paragraphs of relationships in your life that are so meaningful to you. Those people will always be there. And anything else is a bonus, but nobody can ever affect your life negatively. That's how I like to think. No one can ever affect me negatively. I have such an amazing crew around me. Anything else is just a bonus.
Totally, 100%.
And think, will those people be sitting at your deathbed with you, holding your hand for all the things you regret
No.
to do?
That person who left that comment, which was just like, they're not going to be at
or
your
Johnny down
deathbed.
the road, he's like, say what is she on about? Who is she?
Fuck them, who cares?
Who gives
it doesn't. Who gives a shit? Of course, exactly. They're not going to be your paying clients, that's for sure.
Yeah, I actually love Lewis, like the way he speaks about that. He's like, I don't give a shit. Like, I always laugh when I see those videos because you kind of have to say, like, I don't give a shit.
100%. I couldn't care less. I love it. I love it because the thing is as well, one thing I learned a long time ago, that incredible marketing isn't just about attracting the people that you want. It's about rejecting and what's the word for it? Not rejecting.
No, you're right. Knowing.
What's the word, like when you're pushing something away?
Boundaries.
Repelling.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's about repelling the people you don't want to work with. So for every one of those people that's judging or that's commenting negatively or that's putting you down, your marketing is spot on, because what you're doing is you're repelling all of those people and saying, get away, get away, get away. And when you're clearing this space for the people who are right for you,
absolutely,
who will be inspired by you and who want to work with you to then move forward and work. But if you're trying to please everyone, there's no pathway. It's just one big hazy mess.
Exactly. No, you're right.
Let's go back to the life clock then. So there were some turning points for you and you were like, I need to just switch things up and I need to change my life. Let's go back there and let's carry on the journey.
It mainly was... It was like just one particular event that I won't get into, but it was just, for me, it was ultimate rejection and I suppose in a sense bullying and isolation from the group, you could say. And I suppose I didn't expect it to happen at that age in my life, and it did. So all of a sudden I just was on the floor. I really was. And I kind of knew, is this the way, I was like, is this the way you're going to live your life now, constantly on eggshells around other people? And I know this will resonate with some people. That's my story.
That will resonate with a lot of people.
Yeah. And I was just bawling my eyes out, crying, didn't want to see anyone. Just kind of, again, it was nothing majorly traumatic for me. It was just a series of things that throughout my life. And I was looking for attention. And then if I didn't get the attention, I was like really insecure in myself. And then I was projecting that, it was just messy. Like when I look back at like all those like teens, adolescents, I'd no mind of my own, but who does? A lot of people don't.
Sure.
But I suppose my client, my ideal client, is somebody who just wants to feel fully in their power, fully authentic in their sense of selves.
So what did you do?
What did I do?
And like you mentioned, and fully respect it, like there was a turning point, there was an event that happened.
Yeah.
After that, what was it that you did to move forward?
So after that particular event, and again, it was a build up of smaller events that it was kind of like the breaking point for me. There was a lot of different things I did, Liam, which have all become part of my coaching program, which is so funny, right? So that's kind of like, that's the extension of us, right?
Because you know what works, because you've done it.
Exactly. So like I work with women for like 12 weeks usually, on a one-to-one basis. Now there's other things happening in my world, but like that's kind of what I've been focusing on the last 2 years. A lot of it, so for example, journaling was huge for me, and I know again, it's like woo-woo. It's not. It's so powerful, right? So journaling was huge. Gratitude journaling, again, really tuning into what I loved about my life was massive, because at that point I felt like I was all lack and anxiety and paranoia, and I kept attracting more of it. I thought so like poorly of myself that I was even attracting that in my relationships with the other sex. All that, which I know is growing up, but still, there's an energy behind all that. Like what you think of yourself is an energy, and you'll attract again. Like we said, I won't repeat myself, but where was I? Journaling was a huge one for me. Then I think kind of like taking massive action, uncomfortable action, whether that was putting myself into new social groups, whether that was...
this is all prior to becoming a coach.
This is the work I did on myself. I got back into my vision boards, which was so mad because I manifested 2 incredible things on my vision board, and I really just knew it was coming. I always say, put out what you want, make your vision board, but then trust the universe, relax, and feel excited about it happening. And like I still do that. That's my little manifestation recipe. I still do that to this day. Never feel anxious about it because the universe always has your back, right?
Sure.
All of that. But it was actually a mixture of things. And then oh my God, sorry, I never even mentioned, I did EFT tapping with my mom. So my mom's a holistic therapist.
Yeah.
So have you ever heard of EFT tapping?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's my bestie. You know what? I can't describe to you what that has done. That little simple technique has done for me. I cried.
And again,
cried.
this is all just for you personally.
Personally, I had to heal a lot. So I look back at, again, my life clock, which again, like I said, she was nothing too traumatic, but it was stuff that would still hold people back to this day.
For sure. That's the thing. Like, the biggest thing to you at the time is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't ever have to be this thing that it's not a competition, is it?
No,
it's not about whether or not it's big compared to someone else's trauma or compared to something that's newsworthy or whatever. It's to you, it's the biggest thing to you. So that's the biggest thing. So
yeah, but I think it really resonates with a lot of people. Like all those little life events that kind of build up to make them feel like a shell of themselves and paranoid.
Yeah.
And they won't go for all these things in life. They won't become a coach. They won't, you know what I mean? Because they're so afraid of judgment or fear of what others think, or kind of, I'm not good enough, and boxing themselves off.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd done for so long. And then I did all this work on myself. And I just feel like I saw my whole life change. Like I know that sounds dramatic, but I saw like the people.
How long? What's the timeline there in terms of?
I'd say 2013. So sorry, it all happened in 2013, and I'd say by 2015, it's actually when I met Liam, because I always say that's
Liam.
why though. Yeah, the other Liam. You just met him. The other Liam. That's when I met Liam, my husband now, who was like incredible. But I actually feel like he's a reflection of me working on myself as well.
Awesome.
Does that make sense?
100%, of course.
Because I was energetically in so much of a better place, because he's so amazing and confident and does his own thing, and so am I. And I think then...
you then spent those 2 years getting your point to you were resonating at that frequency.
Yeah.
And Liam was resonating at the same frequency.
Exactly.
Hence why you were then attracted to each other.
Exactly.
And you were able to enter each other's lives.
Absolutely.
Like, otherwise you could have just passed each other
on
the street if you weren't resonating at the same frequency.
Absolutely. But like, I just think a lot of people are probably looking at TCM, for example, and saying, oh, that'd be so cool to do. And like, I feel like I could really, really help people with my journey. But they won't, they look at people and they put them on pedestals or coaches or whatever. It just doesn't have to be the case. And I am absolutely living truth of that, because I literally was a school teacher in Dubai. And I was like, this is, I knew though, like I had that intrinsic want, because I could see my own, and everybody has their own little story who's listening to this.
Yeah.
You have a duty and a right to help others.
Yeah. There
is so much room for mindset coaches still.
For sure. Oh, massive.
And like I know you guys say that. It's not something you say to sell. It's true.
It is true.
It's so true.
Like I always say, if you're interested in coaching, never ever let Facebook and Instagram's algorithms convince you that everybody's a coach, because they're not. Like, all you've got to do is walk down the street and ask the first 10 people that you come across, what's a coach? People will talk about sports. Most people will not say, oh, okay, well, a coach is someone that helps you break down barriers, achieve your goals, increase your confidence, eliminate anxiety. The general population are not thinking that, because it's not something that's common in any way. We make the mistake of going, oh, it's like everybody's a coach these days. And that's just because if you started Googling ballet, you would all of a sudden be convinced everyone's a ballerina. Because now all of a sudden everyone on your Instagram is a ballerina. It's just an algorithm. It's not actually reality. It's not the world. We are a tiny little drop in this gigantic ocean, and everybody can benefit from coaching. And there are not enough coaches, nowhere near enough. So
I really want to talk about, I think, actually, if that's okay with you, just kind of like what I feel like it takes though to become a coach.
100%,
a good coach. Because I think this is something, this is something I get asked a lot from clients.
Before you do that,
right? Okay.
How did you become a coach? Because at the moment we're at this point where you've had this life event, and it was a build up of all of these other events as well. You've worked on yourself for a good couple of years. You're vibrating at a higher frequency now. Now you've met your current husband, to be husband at the time. But you're not a coach at this point.
No.
You're just still on that journey of self-development. So how did that happen? How did you actually become a coach?
So then I built up confidence in myself. I always did want to have my own personal brand. Like, that was always a dream of mine. And then I started to think, okay, what do I value? What's, things like that. I never though woke up and said, oh, I'd love to become a coach for money or whatever. Because I guess as soon as you do that, like, not in a bad way, forget about it. It has to come from your place and that intrinsic So for me, again, like I said, it was an extension of me. So I was working so hard on myself. I kind of had set my sights on what I wanted. I started manifesting things. I started getting really into Tony Robbins. Like I was into Tony Robbins anyway, but I actually did one of his seminars. He's
Unleash
virtual
the
events.
power within.
I wish that it
Yeah.
wasn't the actual. It was
Oh,
an
okay.
online version, but oh
Okay.
my god, that was
Oh
powerful.
yeah, but the online versions are
That was
amazing.
powerful.
Yeah,
But I
massive.
think at the same time, I was looking into the coaching masters around that time as well. So I'd heard someone had become a life coach in Dubai, and I was just so like, oh, you know, and I knew what it was, obviously. And now, first of all, I actually don't like saying life coach. I don't know why. I don't even know why I said it there.
Interesting.
Sorry, I don't know why.
No,
Again,
don't.
it's one
Honestly,
of those words.
I'm not attached to it.
Yeah.
I'm not attached to life coach.
I don't
like
know.
coach. You know, the way I always describe it when people say, "What do you do?" I say the best way of describing it is I run a school. And this school is for people that want to become coaches, such as mindset coaches,
Yeah.
business coaches, confidence coaches, life coaches, anxiety.
Yeah.
I don't attach
Yeah.
myself to that, to the one original term being a life
'cause
coach.
it's
So yeah,
diverse. It's diverse.
course.
Yeah, but again, like of course, like a lot of my clients call me their life coach, and I love it. So I don't. There's nothing wrong with it. I just But someone, and I was like, oh my god, and like I heard she was like helping women, and I was like, oh my god, she's helping women. But I actually remember it was at a brunch in Dubai, and it was her partner who was telling me about it, and I was like, oh, it switched something in me. I was like, that's so cool.
love that.
It's so cool, and I suppose at that point I had really seen my confidence was like through the roof. Now, like I'm saying this as if like I think I'm the dog's beat. I'm not. Like I'm not saying that, but I just again compared to a couple of years ago, I was at a much. I don't know. It was just a much more. I would nearly call myself a confidence coach. Actually,
Yeah.
I am mindset.
And never
'cause
be
I cover
afraid
a
of
lot.
blowing your own trumpet on this podcast.
Oh, no.
Sarah. You can blow your own trumpet as hard and as loud as you want. Honestly.
But yeah, so I heard about it, and then I got in touch with her, and she told me about the coaching master. So I remember sitting down. It's so funny that I'm here with you now, because I remember sitting down at my kitchen table and watching that video of you and Lewis, like in some it was in the sun, and you were talking about like coaching, the lifestyle. And I wasn't, but again, this is where people need to really like look inwards. It wasn't about like, oh, I want loads of money and I want to live in the sun.
Sure, yeah.
And like, not in a bad way. If some people ask me like, I'd love to just I'd love to like run my own business, I kind of say to them, it really has to be an embodiment thing.
100%.
And if it's not, I don't know if it's for you.
Totally, for sure, because we were talking about this briefly downstairs before we started recording, and this is something that we never shy away from, even inside the Coaching Masters community. It's work, right? It's work. We're like now years and years after having started my first coaching business, the Coaching Masters is now mega. We've got over 100 employees. We've got all these different departments. We've got loads of stuff going on. I still work around the clock.
Oh yeah.
And of course, a big part of that is because I choose to, but I'm still working around the clock, because if you want to really create something significant, it's a lot of work. But if you're embodying it,
oh yeah,
it's not the same as work. And I know that sounds like really cliche. You know, I don't feel like it doesn't feel like work because I love it. But like, there's a lot of truth to that, really. You know, it's not like work.
It takes you a lot of time.
It's time.
It takes so much sacrifice. You're not going to be going out every weekend with your friends, to be honest. That's only if you have a full-time job. Of course you will. But you are going to make a lot of sacrifices for long-term success. And you need to understand all these things now and decide, is this for me? It's not for some people.
For sure.
And I think it's better when people are honest with themselves and say, this is, it's very isolating. Working for yourself, it can be, you know, obviously when you build, like now, like obviously, like I feel like I've built it so much that I've, you know, surrounded myself with like-minded people.
Sure.
But that takes a while as well. It can be very lonely.
Yeah.
It can be very soul destroying when you spend a couple of hours in a post and you get like 6 likes. You know what I mean? You're going to feel all that. You're going to feel like you're naked in the streets. You're going to feel like people will talk about you. That's constant. It doesn't go away from me still.
Sure. But if you embody it.
But it's what are you passionate about? Why are you doing it?
Exactly.
When I cried after the school the last day, I knew then I was like, right, I need to get into schools. Like after I have my baby and stuff, like next year, I want to get into schools. Because I cried with emotion. Because I was taken back to old Sarah. And I said, oh my God, there's so much more I have to share with this age group, and I need to get in there. So you need to feel it on that level, whatever it is that you're doing. Or like, if I see it with PTs all the time, like not in a bad way. I see the ones who get the clients and the ones that don't. Totally. And to be honest with you, but there's more to it, right? It's energy as well. So if you are truly confident in your sense of self, that will come across in your Instagram posts.
So when you were in Dubai,
and
you were talking to the partner of this coach, this female coach, you felt, it sounds like there was an immediate resonance there.
Yeah, big time.
So tell us about that, and then how that eventually got you to the point
I
where
suppose
you were
that's a good. So just it really resonated with me because I said, oh my God, I could actually help people build confidence. Simple as that. Because I seen myself do it through, again, like I said, EFT tapping was huge for me. If anybody wants to check it out, it is amazing for healing from your past, like crying. What we want to do during EFT tapping and NLP time therapy, which I learned from the coaching masters. If you can remove the emotion, you're free from it.
100%.
If you look back and you can remove the emotion, take the learnings and the powerful messaging. Yeah. So anyway, sorry, I'm off on a tangent now again, right? Where were we? Yeah. So that was kind of, I had all these little things that I'd done. Tony Robbins stuff. Obviously, I was in the TCM. I was eating up all of your free content.
But you wouldn't have been at this point though, right? So you had met that woman in Dubai.
Yes.
Her husband.
The
and
guy.
you were like, wow, so all this work I've been doing on myself, that's a job. I can actually help other people with that as a coach. Was that the first time you'd heard of coaching as a job, or at least considered that it's something you could do?
Exactly, that the association with me and what I could actually do with the way my life has changed over the last 3 or 4 years.
Sure.
I just thought it was amazing. I was like, oh my God.
So you just dived into it at that point.
But of course, all the limiting beliefs, oh, that's lovely for her, so I couldn't do that.
Yeah, sure.
They're all going to come.
Yeah.
I was sitting there watching the coaching masters the first day with a face like a brick wall, like, oh, this is great. Yeah, taking a few notes, whatever. I probably will never do it though. Sure. I'm sure a lot of people that come on your website think that, I'll come back to this, whatever. Not in a bad way, but you do. Like, you're straight away, your limiting beliefs are going to come. Like, I couldn't do this. 100%. It's not for me. It's great for them guys. They're living the life. They've probably got money behind them. Whatever people, Yeah. But take it from me. As in, I just I can't believe the success that it has rolled in, but it has been from TCM originally.
Love that.
Love TCM. And I suppose what TCM gives you compared to other coaching programs is the sense of community, and other people can do it too.
Where did you hear about TCM?
Through that girl who I then got on to.
So this is right. So we are talking about Angelina.
Yes, Angelina. Yeah. So
I didn't want to assume in case it was another female coach.
No, it was actually her. It was her partner I met who had told me about her, and I knew him from a boot camp in Thailand. I did. So then I got on to Angelina, who was so helpful, and I checked out her page, and she was telling me about how much she was loving being with the coaching masters and how much she'd learned from them. And I was like,
I love that. That's incredible.
Wow, because at that time she was doing the business course as well, I think. So she was really posting, and she had all her ebooks up and stuff. And I was like, this is so cool. And I suppose when I saw another Irish girl doing it, that was like myself, a teacher. I think she was teaching before that as well. I was like, this is possible.
So that's really awesome. So that was your entry point into thinking, wow, this is something I could do.
Yeah.
Angelina, who was a student of the Coaching Masters, was part of the Coaching Masters, and that's how you found out about TCM.
Yeah.
And so just from there, you were like, let's give this a shot. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, actually, this is a good point. So how did I go from there, right? So I did all your freebies, and I actually did the Find Your Niche workbook, which I found fantastic. So actually my first, and I always tell the girls to do this, the girls who want to be mindset or coaches, the first thing I did was I said, I want to create a PDF, or I want to create something that's going to add value from my perspective.
Yeah.
So I created my first PDF. It was 30 pages long, and it was called Ready, Set, Grow. Now let me think where I was at the Coaching Masters. I didn't do your business course. I just did the accreditation.
Sure.
But I did the accreditation after this. This is interesting. So I was eating up all your stuff. And I was doing actually all your little free web classes.
Yep.
So I suppose I had that. I had the Coaching Masters going on in the background. And then I think I actually was part of your Facebook group too, but I wasn't doing the accreditation.
Interesting.
Oh, the membership. It was the membership. It was the £45 a month at that time, whatever it was. So I thought, as my little kind of, I like this, little kind of a community to kind of drive me on.
Because for those people that don't know, Sarah, you're actually pretty much one of our originals, really, because you joined the Coaching Masters in 2020.
Yeah, I did.
And me and Lewis only met each other in 2019.
That's mad.
And we started the Coaching Master. Well, we met February 2019. We came up with the idea of the Coaching Master straight away. We launched our first course April 2019. And so a year later, you were there. You were part of the membership.
I was part of it. But I didn't do the accreditation at this point. But then I said, I started sharing some stories, putting up some posts, kind of get people knowing, Sarah is quite into mindset.
Yeah.
Nothing major, which I think is a good idea. If everyone's afraid of starting, just kind of start by sharing little stories.
Yeah.
You don't have to go on video yet. I didn't go on video for a year. And then I wrote Ready, Set, Grow. And I text all of my friends, anyone I knew, I didn't care. I was like, I would love if you shared this for me. I feel like this would be really valuable for women.
Love that.
and I did it on Canva, you know yourself, and I
Yeah,
spent
yeah,
like
yeah.
about 3 or 4 weeks. I remember shaking,
Yeah.
Liam,
Yeah.
shaking. And I put out my story. I said, I felt really crap about myself for so many years. I said, I've learned some things that I really want to share with other people. And I was like, oh my God.
I'll tell you what I love about this, Sarah, is this is after having consumed the free content as
Oh, yeah,
well.
free
so
content.
you're one of those individuals, and I love that, and I
Yeah.
really respect this about you, where you're going to want to absorb all of that free content, learn as much as you can from it, and then take action.
Yeah.
You did that, and
Yeah.
that is some massive action to take off
Massive
the back of the
action,
free
yeah.
content, for sure.
Because I do see a lot of people say, oh, I want to become a coach. And I'm like, you just can't get paying clients yet. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen, my darling. I'm sorry.
And when you get
you
those,
have so much graft to do first.
we
you know?
also like when you get those individuals, and we're always screaming this from the rooftops that
Yeah.
want to like hide behind a logo, and they're like, oh, but I don't want to share my face. I don't want to like tell my story. I just want to, and we're just like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Nobody's going to want to hire this faceless coach behind this faceless logo that
No.
has no story, that's not relatable in any way. And that's that massive separation they want to create between
Yeah.
themselves and that vulnerability. But you dived in.
No, but you have to be the leader.
Of course.
People need to understand this. You have to be, like, for example, me, like I was working with a PT because like health and fitness was a huge part of my confidence journey, massive. And I talk about that. But I was sharing me going to the gym every day because I want to be the leader. And think about it. People do buy people.
100%.
They
Of
don't buy
course.
horses. They don't buy information.
They don't. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I tell you, one example, I can't remember where I saw this. I read this years ago, and I've used it inside of the Ultimate Launch in Coaching Masters. And that's that Richard Branson as a man has more followers combined than all of his businesses, right? So every
Right.
branch of Virgin, they all have a social media account, of course. You got like Virgin Mobile, you've got like Virgin Music back in the day, you got like Virgin Water, you got Virgin Airlines. If you took all of the social media accounts of all of those businesses combined, Richard Branson as a man has like 10 times more followers than all of them combined. And that's because people don't follow businesses.
No.
They don't follow logos. They follow people, and they're inspired
do.
by people. So you have to be the leader. And you
Yeah.
took that from you understood that from our training. And
Oh, yeah.
but some people miss it.
Yeah, no, like I'm not in a bad way. This sounds really like I'm a really harsh coach, and I'm like, it's not going to happen from a couple of quotes from Canva. It's not going to happen.
no,
I'm sorry,
it's-
do you know.
no,
And like,
it's not.
I think though people are still under the impression that if they do a certain course, and that if they do, you know what I mean. But I'm like, it's just so much more. It's more
So
than a
much
few
more.
pretty pictures on Instagram. You will not turn off your phone at six o'clock. It's not going to happen.
No, yeah.
Of course, content is so important. Don't like.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying don't put up quotes. I mean, you know, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that, but please don't be focused on what doesn't matter.
Yeah, for sure.
What matters is your magnetic energy. You are the person that people are buying into. How are you living your life? How are you getting up in the morning? Like morning routines is a huge part of my life. And I know it is part of yours because I remember looking at
Big
your
time.
Instagram years ago.
Yeah.
And you had your little
Yeah.
5 a.m. club thing up. And I was like, I
Yes.
love it. And that's what I was doing as
5 a.m.
well. I was
club.
spending all that time in the morning writing my affirmations, looking at really like good YouTube videos. I got obsessed with it in a good way.
Yeah, for sure.
In a good way. It has to become this like,
And this now was a time where this is mixed into the Coaching Masters
Mixed
training,
in,
right? And
mixed
you're
in.
now on a journey here to become a coach.
Yes.
But are you still at a point now where you're thinking, oh, but you know, it won't be me. I can't do it.
No,
or are you
not
now
really.
at a
No,
point where you're like,
I'm
in?
convinced.
Yeah, you're convinced.
Every
Good.
month I'm more convinced, and that's the beauty of confidence. You can build confidence, but it comes from the uncomfortable action and you getting out of your shell.
Yep.
So, for example, you know, I just had like my first successful event in January. What that has done for my confidence is everything.
100%.
I'm like, now I can do this. Now I can do that. So it's like the confidence. Is it the confidence cycle? It's like
Yeah, yeah.
action, belief, action, belief.
Exactly.
So let's go back. So I was in the middle of the coaching masters. I was doing the coaching masters, and then I did my PDF, and I got a lot of followers and popularity. Now, when I say a lot, not many. I still don't have a lot of followers, Liam, at all, but my followers are very engaged.
Yes, that's
Which is
much more
more
important.
Please do not be put off. People are buying followers left, right, and centre. I don't know why they bother.
It's way more
Why'd you
important
bother?
that you've got engaged
People know.
followers. And also as well, because of
Yeah.
the power of the niche, we know the power of the niche. You know, and I'm always using this as an example. If you need heart surgery, then
Yeah.
you're going to want to go to a heart surgeon, right? Now that heart surgeon may have less people looking at them, but the people looking at them need heart surgery.
Absolutely.
Not people that just need a bit of this or a bit of that, a bit of heart, bit of lung, bit of brain, whatever, right? But let's say now you need heart surgery on your upper left chamber, and you've got a heart surgeon that only operates on the upper left chamber, that person has less customers, they've got less people looking at them, but they're so much more engaged, because if you need heart surgery on the upper left chamber of your heart, you're going to that person who specializes in that one thing and doesn't do anything else. And this is the power of getting really sniper focused. So if you've got a smaller community or a smaller following, but they are perfectly aligned with you as your niche, and they're really sniper focused in on what you're doing, that will trump massive, unengaged, non-niched followers any day.
I work with like 2 or 3 pillars and repeat. Like I work with a lot of anxiety. I always say anxiety or self-sabotage or limiting beliefs, confidence, and taking action, like kind of goals or whatever, focus pillars. They're kind of the 3 areas I try to build my content around, because that's what I want them to. And remember, nobody will buy from you unless they see it like numerous times, until it's screaming at them in the face.
So true.
The niche, like you said.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely being too general and all that. So anyway, I did the PDF. That was like a general PDF, to be fair. That kind of got me in. Then I decided to do the accreditation with my friend Johnny Herkin, who's amazing. Do you know Johnny?
Johnny.
Have you come across him?
A student of ours.
Yeah, he's a student of
What's
He
his
did
surname?
it with me, Johnny Herkin, but he's doing so well.
Was
He's
this
in
back
Dubai.
was this back in 2020 when you did it?
I think, was it 2020, the later, because there's a couple of different
Johnny Harkin, that
intakes.
name definitely resonates.
Yeah. I know you guys have a lot of students, but you definitely, if you saw him on Instagram, you definitely would know him.
We've had over 7,000 students
now.
Yeah. But even saying that though, the name Johnny Harkin definitely rings a bell.
Johnny's doing very well. The two of us were like egging each other on for so long. It's good, and like that's what's good about the coaching masters. You will find people in there that you'll click with. You won't click with everyone. You'll find people you'll click with, and then you'll egg each other on, and that energy is huge.
Yeah.
Having one person alone.
So you went through the accreditation.
And that helped me a lot with, well, I learned so much that I still do with my clients all the time, like the belief stuff, the confidence stuff was class, like your course is class, and I will say that. And like, I'm very honest, and I said this to you earlier, I said it's about, so what I got from the coaching masters was definitely a sense of community, and definitely like, oh my God, what I learned, like I still do in all my client sessions, like the NLP time therapy that I did. And then of course, it wasn't just the coaching masters. I was reading, I was listening to podcasts. I was, again, Tony Robbins, I'm a huge fan. I did his seminar. And then I looked at my life and how, like EFT that I did with my mom. And what I did, Liam, then was like, I was like, all right, because a lot of people are worried about this. Oh, how will I structure my program? And this was my worry as well.
Yeah.
So then I kind of went away and I actually worked with a mindset coach as well. So I always say, if you want to become a coach, don't be afraid to invest in a coach, because how do you expect people to pay money for you if you won't invest in things like photography? The best coaches have coaches.
Yeah, I've got multiple coaches.
Yeah,
and
in
I
different
always
areas
will.
of your life.
And I want more.
Same.
I want a coach for every area of my life. It's just like, in my mind, it's like a time machine. They just project me forward into the future, because I get to miss those pitfalls, and I get to overcome all of the obstacles that I know are going to be in my way, because they're there shining a light on them.
Yeah.
Whereas before I had these blind spots, I'm just going to be running into these obstacles, knocking them over, and then going back 10 paces. And the coach is just there to shine a light on all of these blind spots, and I can just go and maneuver my way around the maze, and then I just get to the cheese way quicker.
But and so many people are still trying to do it on the cheap, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I suppose you just can't be afraid to invest. Yeah. Because if you want people to pay high ticket offers for your services,
totally,
you really, and I'm not saying go and spend like thousands, because I didn't have that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I did was, things like that, like hire my first coach. I paid it off over 6 months.
Yeah, for sure.
I was only a teacher, so what I mean is, I'm not saying go and like spend thousands and invest all your money, but like don't be afraid to, because then with all that stuff combined and the coaching masters community, knowing also when to dip out of that is important.
Sure.
Right, and I mean that in a respectful way.
Yeah.
Like the community is amazing on Facebook and everything, but you have to stay in your lane, and you have to like try to get maybe some free clients who are in your niche, and that's going to require you to ask them, and that's going to require you to get uncomfortable.
What to you was the highlight of your coaching masters experience?
The coaching masters TCM. All the content I learned that I still use with my clients and on myself. So the modules are fantastic. I didn't do the business course, because I suppose I'm very creative. So I felt like I had a lot of that knowledge, even though obviously there's massive benefits to doing it, but that's where I went.
It would have been amazing to have seen you do the Ultimate Launch course, because from what you've built, not having done it, I would have loved to have just seen
what could have
how
happened.
you would have reacted to that course, because you are the sort of person that you just take it all on board and then you just take action immediately. Like,
I want to do the NLB course.
Something. Oh,
actually, because my Johnny did it and loved it, and I just haven't. Honestly, when I did the accreditation, all my focus became on. To be honest with you, I got loads, like a lot of clients came in the door after that, so it was kind of like, do you know, like I'm not saying that in a. See, I'm Irish as well, so don't be looking at me, because I think Irish people follow Irish people. So one Irish person doing something, everyone hears about it. But I've definitely, I mean, I think it's so important to keep up leveling, and I suppose the coaching masters did give me that opportunity to come back in and out and kind of up level even more. But I definitely need to do some more courses, like you know, and things like that, because everyone does.
What do you think would have happened if you hadn't have been introduced to the coaching masters? You strike me as the sort of person you would have found a way. You would have found a way, it seems.
Honest to God, though, I think when you see the normal people doing it, you're like, oh, this is actually possible. Because you know the way people look at coaches and stuff on Instagram, they put them on such a pedestal.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all these people are just like me.
100%.
You know, I can do this.
100%. That's always been like one of the main focuses of the coaching masters. And when we say we are the ordinary people that we're talking about, you know, give ordinary people extraordinary tools to create freedom for themselves and others. We are those ordinary people, you know, we're the postman in the prison of me and Lewis.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't, I mean, I don't know if being in prison is that ordinary, but you know what I mean?
No, it's you guys have a very trendy approach and very, very like realistic approach to coaching.
Yeah, with real people.
Real people.
That whole Mr. and Mrs. Hollywood, ding, perfect smile, perfect life is fucking bullshit. Like, it just doesn't exist. Like, we all have adversity. We all have struggles.
Yeah.
Still to this day, obviously, because we're human beings with complex emotions and complex lives. But we have found a way of taking that adversity and turning it into an asset and doing that via adding value to people's lives.
Absolutely.
And you have discovered that, Sarah, and you're running with it. You know, what?
You have to run with it, though.
Yeah, you do. And you said a few moments ago you want to talk about the realities of not everybody is cut out to become a coach. Tell me about that.
Well, I think, again, it has to be an intrinsic motivation. What I mean when I say that, it means it has to be, you have to look far into the future and see it. Like, what is all the you can, like, if you won't do it if you don't really care about it.
Yeah.
Let's be blunt and honest here. If you don't, like, if you start the coaching master's course and you're kind of giving a half-arsed effort and you're not really doing, you know, because you know your self-confidence means to trust, and like if you don't trust yourself to deliver every single week, it's what I'd love to get across here is the coaching masters is going to give you so much value. Like, and I will to be honest, I wouldn't be here with you if I didn't feel that, because that's the kind of person I am. I'm very honest. And I'll say it straight.
Love that.
You'll get so much from the coaching masters in terms of how to structure your program and content and obviously community and all the other amazing things that you guys do. But you have to get up in the morning. You have to prove to the world that you are the leader that they want to work with.
Yeah.
It's not going to come from a couple of posts, like I said, quotes and things like that. It's going to come from you, like, getting uncomfortable, going on video, talking about your story, which I learned from you guys as well. But like, vulnerability is everything, and I still shake to this day. I actually shared, I remember a post a couple of years ago, but that's what got me like 20 clients on the door. What's
the most vulnerable thing you've ever shared on your journey so far?
Basically kind of everything I told you. I don't go deep into the events, but I basically everything kind of feeling really unworthy, feeling really crap about myself, and then kind of looking for validation from other people. But I think that really resonates with people.
For sure.
Because they're not really in their power. But now that I'm in my power, like, I just can't explain to you how much I just don't care. Like, I detach, I do my own thing. My life is just incredible because of that, though.
What do you say to those people that have just discovered the coaching masters, but they do feel passionate about it, and they're sitting there, they've not embarked on it yet, but you know what it was like when we were in the beginning, and they're like, they have this feeling that it is for them and that they will put everything into it, and they are passionate about it, and they're about to embark on their journey. What do you say to those people? Right. Okay. First of all, amazing. There's such a need. But you have to stand out from the rest. So you have to be the one that people are just energetically drawn to based on how you live your life. Because that does matter, right? That does matter. How you set the example is everything. So like video everything. I always say that, like not shit, like whatever, but like video yourself going to the gym, like talk about like your struggles, talk about your vulnerabilities.
don't be afraid of that stuff. I suppose, oh God, I'm going back to the bit, my baby brain is really bad. And now I'm
Sarah's pregnant, by the way.
I'm pregnant, yeah.
Sarah's pregnant. She's incredibly good at hiding it. I had no idea until you took your jacket off, and I was like, oh my God, you're actually pregnant.
I'm very good at deceiving it with clothing, like, because I've had so many like events and photo shoots and stuff. Not that I'm trying to hide it.
No.
But it's just, you know. So yeah, definitely being your authentic self. Tap into all the things that you love about yourself. Tap into gratitude. Like every single day when you wake up, like write down what you love about yourself. Write down why you're amazing. Write down, like, I am a successful mindset coach. And now I write down I'm Ireland's most successful mindset coach. And I was going to hide that. You know, I had an event recently and I want to write a book. I am going to write a book at the end of this year.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to tell them. I was like, oh no, I can't tell them that, right?
Oh my God.
And then I was like, why would I hide it?
That's like the power of the niche. It's that the more specific you can make this thing, the better.
Oh God, yeah.
It's like, because the thing is, you can get so specific and you can think, yeah, but that's only a pool of people. But that one pool of people is millions of people.
Yeah.
You know, even, like, to be honest, and again, we do things online. So like, we're not confined to a certain location, but it could be a particular area of Ireland, and I'm always game for making things way more specific. Of course, you can get to a point where, you know, I'm not going to go as far as to say it can never be too specific, because you could get to a point where it could be so specific it only includes one person, right? We could go really extreme with it, but in general, I think when people are trying to create that niche, if they think it's too specific, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's still millions of people that will resonate with you if you say, I only help this particular type of person in this particular area overcome this particular thing. Like, Ireland's most successful coach.
I wrote it down, but I still write it down because I'm like, well, I can see it for myself. The more I write it, I'm like, well, I can see it for myself. And the more then these things happen. But anyway, let's go back to those. So be your authentic self. I also think you have to invest a lot of time in freebies. Now, I didn't want to do this, but I did. I did a lot of webinars. I actually have a really nice little webinar. A really nice webinar, a really popular one on my bio for anyone. And it's all about like building that bulletproof mindset behind creating a personal brand. And I took a lot of things from what we've been speaking about today, if anyone wants to check that out. I did a lot of... again, a lot of free PDFs. I did the Wheel of Life freebie. I did all this stuff because you have to build trust. You can't go out there and say, this is what I'm charging for my... you have to show them your story. You have to share it all the time. You have to get on video. Not to scare people. You don't have to get on video yet. That can be a thing you work up to. But you have to, like, freebies, webinars. Even if you have 2 people show up, like, you can't be afraid of that stuff. Because remember,
100%.
This is another thing I always tell myself every day. If I can help one person with this post today... that's me paid. Do you know what I mean?
The first event I ever did, and this was before I did anything online, because when I met Lewis, he introduced me to the online world. I wasn't online before. I had like a little personal Instagram account. I was running an offline training academy, qualifying people as coaches in the room. I didn't do, and the way that I did that was that I would get people to actually go and attend this like free seminar that I was putting on after work. And I would stand up at the front and I would teach them about what coaching is, in the hopes that at the end, they would then go and buy my course. The first ever time I did that, one person turned up. And so when people have a fear of putting on a webinar online and only having one person turn up, could you imagine how excruciating it was for me when I was actually in the room with this one person, and this poor lady, she sat there through, and I thought to myself, I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to do it as if I've got 1,000 people in this room.
You have to.
And it was one person, and she didn't even buy in the end, right? So she was just like, oh, thank you very much, really interesting, and she just darted out of there as fast as she could.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you just got to do it though. You got to start.
No, you can't be afraid of it. Like, because remember, it's something that you're building up to. That's why I said, look into the future and see what you can do.
Yeah.
But it's going to take, look at Joe Wicks, the body coach. He talks about it all the time, doesn't he? How he had no one ever come up to his classes.
For sure.
It's, but you can do it. But it has to come from the heart. And like, people can tell now on Instagram what's fake and what's not. So just do you and document it.
What would you like? What is one thing that you would really love all of our listeners to know? Is there just something burning inside that you just really want to share? Yeah, so those steps we just talked about. So get involved with the Coaching Masters, definitely. And I'm not saying that because Liam is in front of me. That's what gave me the first of all, the community and the topics that I learned about that I do with my clients.
Then also, like I said, be your authentic self on social media. Like, do lots of free stuff, please. Like, don't, like, it's not going to happen overnight for you. And as soon as you think it is, it's not. The next thing as well is get some free clients on board. So this is what I did. And I actually think this is what snowballed for me, the effect of it. I got 6 girls in the door that I actually approached. And I said, look, I'm training to be a coach. I'd love to do like a 6-week program with you. Don't worry too much about structure, but kind of think of maybe topics you could start with based on the Coaching Masters modules is what I did. So I think I started with Wheel of Life, and I think I went down to confidence and limiting beliefs, which was perfect.
Love it.
I didn't actually need much more information outside of my Tony Robbins books and the Coaching Masters at the time.
That's massive. That's the thing. Like, what a lot of people underestimate and they forget about is that when you go on this journey to learn all of these things, it starts to become normal to us. But then when you get a client through the door who has not considered mindset, full stop, and they're just on the conveyor belt of life and they're on the hamster wheel, and you start breaking down their limiting beliefs and increasing their confidence and doing like a wheel of life with them to know,
and then actions at the end of every session, 5 actions,
and getting them to take actions. To them, it's a game changer. It's like they haven't even thought about that stuff before. So I love that you've said that, because it never needs to be that complicated. You can do the simple techniques and it will change people's lives.
Yeah, absolutely. So, have a little kind of a framework, like a skeleton, like that, okay, this is probably how I'll start and like the Coaching Masters would give you all those know-hows and the demos. So do all that, and then ask those clients to just WhatsApp you all the time. Like, that's what I did. I said, can you just WhatsApp me and let me know every single day how you're doing? I said, I really want you to give me feedback. I need to know what's working for you, what's not, and don't be afraid of that. And then start sharing all those WhatsApps. That's how, I feel like that's actually what, and then I had another person say, oh, Sarah, like, are you a coach? Then I did this really cool thing one day. I asked people, I did a survey for people. I said, I'm doing a free survey. I would love your input. I sent it to everyone I knew. And it was like, what are your top three challenges? What are your this? What are your that? And I got like 50 something responses. I got all my friends to share that as well, though.
That's golden.
But you have to ask all your friends to share as well. Please help me out with this. Anyone family, friends, tell them to share it for you. It's
that first initial throwing out of the net, isn't it?
You have to get eyes on you. So then what I did was I got the WhatsApps and I said what I was going to give them in return. Not everybody has to do this. Was I'm going to WhatsApp them some advice. But
that's great though.
I got 20 clients from that, paying clients.
Honestly, that is it's so good doing that, because of course you're casting in the net, you're casting out as far as you can, giving something
free
in return.
Value,
100%, just for the sake of filling this thing out is golden, because as well as those clients, every single one of those responses, that's copy for ads. That's really knowing what resonates with people. That's being able to get under the skin of what people are struggling with, because they've told you. The wording that people use when they fill stuff like that out, you cannot be underestimated how valuable that is, because you're getting a little access into the way they think and what they're feeling.
Yeah, and you can remember, so anyone that fills in my client inquiry form, I voice note them always. And I ask them, how are they, and tell me a little bit more about that anxiety you're feeling. Don't just come in and be like, I'm a coach, this is my program. Never.
Sure.
Build relationships. I was going to say something else. What was it? This is the baby brain.
Baby brain.
Oh my God.
I remember.
Yeah, loads of freebies. If you're on my Instagram, you'll know that I have one program that I built in April 2021 called the Best Self Training Program. Everything is called Best Self Training, down to my events, down to my new online course. I'm doing an online course with everything that I've done with the girls so far. I also do accountability with the girls. So like they have the Excel spreadsheet when they're coaching with me. So they fill in how they're doing every week. Again, that's amazing for content. It's also amazing to track and actually care about your clients and know what's going on and how you can help in the next session. They also write down the dates beside each action they take. So for me, I know that all the girls, when they say what they love about my style of coaching, is keeping them accountable. So all of this stuff, right, that's all content for you as well. I've also used an online platform called Bubble Up. It's like €3 a month. It's BUBLUP. I think I pay a bit more now for storage. Sure. But I started with that. And they have their week 1 material, week 2 material, week 3 with everything as well. And it's like so simple.
And that gets drip fed to your clients?
You can do drip fed, like I actually just still do it manually, like at the stage I'm in. So I just drip feed them like once every week or once every month. I kind of do a group together. Even though I do one-on-one clients, if I have a group of them together, I'll put them in a WhatsApp. So I'll do.
You're definitely a natural at this, Sarah. This is. I mean, I'm not surprised.
But it doesn't have to be hard, Liam. And I want the people listening to this to know this. I taught myself everything through YouTube. Mailchimp. Taught myself through YouTube. I just Linktree.
Yeah.
I actually don't have, like, you're going to kill me, I don't have a proper website yet.
Well, I mean,
I
you don't sound like you need one.
But yeah, a lot of people think that that's very, it is important definitely for professionalism.
People do it the wrong way around, though.
But the wrong way around.
People start with stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they think that that's going to be the thing that gets them clients, when of course it never will be. That will be the thing that will give you a bit more of a presence online. But you have done it the right way around. You are a natural at this because you just get it. You understand it. You understand leading with value. You understand being the leader, being vulnerable, showing your true self, utilizing things that you use to help grow yourself. You're just a natural at this.
If you can share your story, that's all you really need to do. Because but then you also have to show that you're living the version that they want to achieve. Now.
Solid.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
You show where you are now, and they will buy into you if they feel like I am there where she was and I can get to where she is now. Does that make sense? And whatever you do.
Completely solid. That is like an amazing soundbite there. That one little bit as well. Everyone go back and listen to the whole episode, but that's just like a great little insight into some of the key things that I think people entirely miss. Lastly, super fast hour that, by the way.
I know, we could talk for hours.
That's gone like
so
rapidly
much more.
fast. Yeah. What is one thing I've not asked you that you really wish I did, or you think I should have asked you?
That's a really good question now. My baby brain is gone. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like we actually talked about a lot there.
We covered a lot.
Just, I suppose, realize it's going to be difficult. Not that it's going to be difficult, sorry. It's as difficult as you make it. But you have to step up. You have to be very patient. You have to be willing to put the graft in. Sorry, that's more advice. In terms of what you could have asked me, not really. I think we covered a lot there.
You cover a lot.
I think we covered a lot. Just don't be afraid to take uncomfortable action. Just don't be afraid to keep taking uncomfortable action. And it's such a marathon, not a sprint. Rome wasn't built in a day. Messy action. That's messy action before anything.
Imperfect, messy action.
You don't need to have all the courses done. You don't need to have even the coaching master stuff done. Just start alongside the coaching master. That's actually what I did. I built my PDF alongside the coaching masters, and knowing when to tune out and focus on your lane, focus on getting clients in the door that will resonate with you. A lot of free hours, a lot of your time will go into it, and that's okay.
Lastly, what would you say, what's the best thing about the coaching masters in your opinion?
Oh, the trendy approach. The real-time approach, because like I had seen other coaching qualifications, and some people would send them on to me, and I'm just like, oh my god, how boring. You're sitting down at a laptop filling out probably like these quizzes that were made on Podia for like a level 3, and what do you do then? You're on your own. You know what I mean?
Just like, shoot
the
me now.
coaching masters for me gave me a gateway in terms of other people are doing it, and I made lovely friends when I was doing the coaching masters, chatting to them. But like I said, then you also have to tune out, like tune in. So I was able to see other people were doing it. I loved the modules. I loved your guys' story because you were normal guys like me. And I was like, well, if they can do it, I probably can.
Definitely.
And it's a more funky, kind of a realistic, kind of trendy approach. It's like I say what I offer the girls is a trendy approach to like counselling or psychology in a sense. That's what you guys do to like a mainstream course.
Yeah.
It gives you an awful lot more, Liam, than what you bargained for. Like the podcast alone is savage.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All the free stuff was class. Like like the niche workbook, I send that on to everyone. Like all the Lewis's stuff from years ago.
So good,
brilliant. But I think you have so much there that it really just kept propelling me forward. It kept. I was only going in one direction as long as I was listening to TCM.
Well done for using it and utilizing it and taking action on it. And and I'm really, really excited to see where you take this, because this is the beginning for you, Sarah. I mean, there's been some rapid growth within a short amount of time, but this is the start.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
Really proud.
I'm proud of myself.
You should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you so much.
Sarah Woulf.
That's the one.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys, for having me on. I'm honoured to be asked. Come on.
Anytime.